All right, Cowabunga Bros. You guys may be wondering what that means. I'll explain it later. But I am your pro surf instructor. I am self-proclaimed, but I know what I'm talking about. All right, why am I credible? I know how to surf. I started at a young age. I was like 5 when I started learning. So me, I am credible. There's a picture of me doing it. First thing we're going to learn about is slang. You need to know how to talk like a surfer if you're going to become a surfer. So 3 main words we're going to go over is Barney and Hang 10 and the men in gray suits. So Barney just means rookie and you don't know how to surf, or it means you come from the Midwest. So pretty much like all of you. So not that kind of Barney. But next thing is hang 10. This is when you're riding a longboard and you put both your feet over the top of the board so all of your toes are on the front. Looks something like that. Last thing is the men in gray suits. Not those kind of men though. It's going to be a shark. And no matter how cool you are, you're never going to be as cool as a surfer riding a shark. Next thing we're going to be over is where did surfing begin? It's actually a super long story of where surfing started, but I'll shorten it down for you. So the Polynesians invented surfing by carving wood out of tree trunks, and it was basically just for fun at first. But when the native Hawaiians got word of this, this was like their new pastime. So if you think of surfing, you probably think of the Hawaiian culture, and that's what they do. Polynesians actually started it though, and it later transferred to Hawaii. So when they were doing this, the Europeans, when they came over to Hawaii, were extremely impressed by this pastime and learning about surfing. But the problem with it is they wanted the Hawaiians to work instead of having fun. So surfing was in a way kind of banned. So they were forced to work instead of surf. Surfing died out for a very long time. Between the 19th century and the starting of the 20th century, surfing was not very popular at all. No one really did it because when the Europeans came over and colonized Hawaii and all these other places, they were not allowed to surf. It was just work, 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 and surfing died out for a very long time. It was only revived into the late 20th century and start of the 21st century is when it got very popular again. So basically, a few things you need to know is what the basics are of surfing. You're not quite at this level yet. That's John Florence. He has 3 World Surf League titles. He's one of the best surfers in the world, according to a lot of people. First thing you're going to need is your surfboard. Now, the starting surfboard for a lot of young surfers is a longboard. The reason being is because you can ride very, very small waves with this, such as that one. You don't really need a lot of skill to ride a longboard. You just kind of let the water take you, and it'll pick you up from the back, and you can just stand up. Your stance is pretty hard to learn, mainly because when you get up on a surfboard, it has to be quick. If you take too long, you're going to fall off. And basically how you learn stance is you start out on the beach. You don't start in the water. It's too hard to learn from that way. But you want your right foot, or depending on how you stand, I'm goofy, which means my right foot goes in front of me and my left foot is behind. And when you pop up, which I'll tell you about later, you want to go as quick as possible. And the opposite is called regular, is your left foot's in front and your right foot's behind you. If you know how to ride a skateboard, surfing's not too hard to learn. Next thing you need to learn is paddling. This is Kelly Slater. He's another pro surfer. He's also one of the best paddlers in the world just by how fast he can do it. So when you're paddling, what you want to do is you want to make a scoop with your hand, kind of like you're holding water. So I guess you are. And dig down as far as you can and just drag it behind you. You want to have the front of the board into the middle of your chest. So the nose will be right here. It feels super awkward, but that's as much speed as you're going to get. This is also different on a longboard though, is they're super big, so it really doesn't matter where you're at on it. You're going to go pretty quick anyway. Basically, this is my guide to hanging 10. First thing you want to do is spot your wave. So the way a wave works is there's a water drop off in the ocean, and when the wave hits that water drop off onto the beach line, it's gonna kind of make a barrel formation, and this is how the wave builds up. So you'll see it in the horizon on the beach, and when the wave builds up, you're gonna look for the peak of the wave and where to drop in at. Drop in is the most important point, because if you drop in too early, you're not going to get carried, and if you drop in too late, you're going to fall off. Second thing is paddling to your wave. You're going to want to get as much speed as possible when you drop in. Otherwise, like I stated before, you're probably going to fall off, or you just won't catch the wave at all. Second is the pop-up. This is what I stated previously. Super important because you have to do it fast. If you do it too slow, you're not going to catch it, or you're eventually just going to get rolled by the wave and get sand in your ears. And the last part is surfing the barrel. Now, you guys may have heard of the barrel at some point, or if not, I'll explain it to you. The barrel is probably the most sought after thing while surfing. When you drop down into a wave, it breaks in two ways. There's the peak left and peak right, or break left and break right. So if I'm goofy, I'm going to want to go to the right side. And if you're regular, you want to go to the left, because if it's opposite, you're just going to launch yourself right into the wave where it's breaking. When you're inside the barrel, you can ride it as long as the wave is barreling, and then it'll eventually just shoot you out the other side. And that's pretty much my guide to hanging 10. Pretty much you're ready to surf. Good luck. That's pretty much all I have for you today. And while you guys may be rookies, you'll probably never be as good as Jesus riding a surfboard. Cowabunga, dude.